Hey again, fourth block. It's Miss Krieger. I have a couple things I wanted to share with you. Hopefully, within this 5 minutes, I'll get it all done. I'm a little long winded, but I want you guys to definitely feel comfortable with what you're reading. And as we move forward, make sure that you have all the resources that you need or that I can get to you that are humanly possible. The first thing I wanted to do, I think I'd mentioned this, I have this letter home. Now, this is a letter from last semester, as you'll see. This is 2019. This is a letter I'd sent home regarding our reading of the road. There was a couple of things I wanted you guys to understand here. I wanted to say to you what pretty much holds true for our class as well. A little background: after finishing Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451 and exploring the consequences of what happens when a society gives up its ability to think independently, we followed up with this question: what might happen after that destroyed dystopian society decides to rebuild? This is where our recently started novel comes into play. Cormac McCarthy's 2006 Pulitzer Prize winner, The Road. It is a post-apocalyptic text, post meaning after something has happened. Talk here a little bit about, at the heart of the novel's plot is the powerful relationship between a boy and his father as they journey south on the road in a world where some disaster has occurred. Let me remind you, kids, that we don't know for sure what it is, but we'll be exploring some questions about that in the next few weeks. And there are some speculations, but McCarthy never says outright. And then one of my favorite quotes from page 6: the two are truly, as the narrator writes, each other's world entire. The two of them and their namelessness will also go further into that as well. I just say this as well: the hope is that discussions are in-depth and thought-provoking. Now, I know we're not going to be able to discuss as much as we have in a normal classroom setting, but I hope to make that work through some, if it's smaller groups or whole group, just depending, in the next week or so, Google Hangouts or Zoom, so that I can hear you guys' voice and we can talk about some of this and you can ask questions. I said these kids can really and critically think, and that will show too in their verbal and written responses, and definitely will do that. And it says this: while McCarthy does not sugarcoat heavy themes of survival that play out within the narrative, I want to emphasize to you that our class focus will primarily be upon the following. Kids, I really need you to pay attention to this, because I don't want anybody to think that this is some read that I don't want anybody to be uncomfortable given the circumstances of the world. But I do want you guys to know that there's always hope, and that is something that a lot of times gets downplayed by our world, and it gets downplayed about this novel. So if you'll notice this statement right here: we will be focusing on the symbolic nature of fire and water, the human need for companionship, keeping promises when moral compromise is convenient, and the belief in a divine power when everything but survival seems meaningless. And then one more thing here, and I'll stop reading, I promise. While it is easy to view this text at face value in a hopeless and savage context, I want you to take this story to another level, and I'm going to steer you to examine what I believe. There was a critic that wrote a paper that we looked at one year. Ashley Kunza said this. She said, quote, "Out of love for his child and hope for some salvation, the man pushes himself to the point of death to preserve the child's physical and spiritual safety." I want you guys to understand that one of the biggest things I think about this text comes with this. I firmly believe our class reading of this novel will validate McCarthy's suggestions and his intentions. We're going to talk about the boy as hope, and then the man is almost like the 21st century good guy. It will also deepen our understanding of what love can offer us, even in the midst of suffering and struggle. So there is a silver lining to this, guys. I promise you, it's not just supposed to be gloom and doom. I also want you guys to understand that as you read, I want you to make Post-it notes. You guys remember what I said. Remember my suggestions that I showed you, of course, on the blog. Pro tip: make Post-its. Watch my videos that I'm going to post, such as this one. Contact me if nothing else. If nothing else, for today, I want you guys to just go ahead and read through page 69. The road at the bottom of the page says, "Then they set out down the road again." Make that your priority for today, and then we will meet again, and we will make sure that you guys